Hello, I'm Rainey, and this is my friend Marcia. Yay! And and Marcia is going to do a booktube channel, a booktube.
Maybe someday.
Maybe.
No,
No. No. Marcia has a very fun art channel, which I will link all the things below. But today she is visiting for Thanksgiving, and we are going to do the Books with Friends tag. Yay!
It's my very first.
And she has notes because
sorry.
she's very prepared. And
Or just have bad memory.
well, prepared.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it. So this tag was created just the other day by Hannah from Hannah's Books, and that was so lovely because I was trying to think what I was going to ask Marcia when she came over to do something like this, and Hannah did all the work for me. Okay. So, without further ado. Oh, and this is going to be a nonfiction centric book tag because Marcia reads almost exclusively nonfiction.
Yeah.
That's her.
I can't help it. It's just what I like.
And that's awesome. I read almost exclusively fiction, so you know we don't have that in common.
It's okay. You never
That's all right.
know. I might change through the years.
You know, I read some nonfiction. So, but anyway, let's go. All right. Question number 1. Tell me about some of your favorite books.
Okay. Well, some of my favorite books that I have read have come in pairs.
Okay.
Which, for example, since I love biographies and memoirs, I loved Cash by Johnny Cash. But then right after I read that, I read the I Walk the Line by his first wife, Vivian Cash, which was very interesting to get her side of the story. So that was really interesting. And then the second one was My Search for Patty Hearst, and I don't know if you remember. She was abducted and brainwashed, I guess. I don't know. Back in the decades ago. And so this one was by her boyfriend, Stephen Weed, and then after I read that one, I found out about one that she wrote about the whole experience, and that was very interesting to compare and contrast the two, to see if it was consistent and the perceptions of each other and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to read the Johnny Cash one.
Yeah. We might still have that at my house.
I might
It's
have
very
to,
good.
Might have to steal it from you someday.
And I did put an honorable mention here, Renoir, My Father by Jean Renoir. Is that how you say it? It's his
Sure.
brother.
Sure.
It was very
Jean
good.
Renoir.
Jean.
Question 2. What books have you read that you hated?
Okay, so we were
Ooh,
discussing.
no. Okay, hold on, sorry. Okay, continue.
What happened?
I kicked this.
Oh.
It's fine.
We discussed earlier that I can't remember a lot of the books that I read that I hated because I usually don't waste my time to finish them, and I even delete them off of my Goodreads shelf, so I can't remember what they are. But the one that I did still have in there is called Broken Music by Sting, the singer. And I love him. I love his music, but he's weird and very dry. It's like he tried to do such a weird poeticness that I guess some people might like, but it was just annoying, and I quit. I just didn't.
That sounds like something Sting would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually I love any book about a musical artist, so that was weird for me to give up on it.
Number 3. Now we're switching this up a little bit from Hannah's. Since Marcia reads almost exclusively nonfiction, I'm going to say, do you have any fiction favorites?
Yeah. Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle.
Yes.
Which I, of course, knew the cartoon long before the book because it came out in the 80s whenever I was a kid. And so I finally read it a few years ago, and I met the author, and he signed my book and everything.
Ooh,
so it was
that's
very
exciting.
exciting. And it's better than the movie,
Of course.
believe it or not. Although the movie is so nostalgic with its soundtrack. But
I don't know if I've ever seen those.
it's so depressing.
Oh, is it?
It's so great.
Oh.
But it's depressing.
Depressing?
It's
Oh.
a very melancholy movie.
Oh.
And the whole soundtrack is by the band America. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's super weird. Yeah. But it's good. It's good.
All right. question 4. What books were important to you when you were young?
Okay, so I have 2 on here. I'm gonna do the second one first. Was Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
Okay, and the reason that's so obscure and I'm mentioning it is because I barely ever read books until I was an adult. So that's one that I actually read the whole way through in a car ride, and I really loved it.
Good job, young Marcia.
Yes, thank you. And then the book called Go Ask Alice, and I don't have the author written on here. And it was a diary of a girl that as she like got into drug addiction and weird stuff. So that's like kind of my gateway drug for nonfiction, because I love ones about drugs. And
was that for kids? Like, or not?
It was
kids,
a young
but, like,
adult.
adult.
Yeah, so it wasn't really kids.
Well,
But
yeah. I guess you wouldn't want to talk about drug addiction with.
yeah, but it was like a
Little kids,
coming of age,
Okay.
and like how bad she got messed up,
Yeah.
but not over the top.
Interesting. 5. Have you discovered any children's books that are meaningful to you now, but which you found as an adult? And I know the answer.
Yeah, since I didn't read a lot as a kid, I never got to read the Chronicles of Narnia until this year. I'm 42 years old, and I read it this year. So,
Well,
yeah.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was a goal this year. I was just like, I have to read this because everybody else I know in the entire world has read it but me. And I was very glad that I did. And I put on my paper that my favorite one was The Voyage of Dawn. Redder.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
So, talk about a book that we read together as an audiobook, as a read along, etc. We didn't really do this, but
Not exactly. But I did read a book that I handed to her, and then she read it, which was LaToya by LaToya Jackson. It was awesome.
And that was because I had read, what was the other one?
It
by
was her first book that she read while she was married to that weird guy.
Yeah. And that's one I had read before, right?
Yeah,
And then
and
this
so-
is her second one.
This is after she divorced him and
Yeah.
said that everything she said in that book was false.
Yeah.
So I really would like to read that one too
Yes.
someday.
Yeah.
For comparative.
Because that was, I remember that one was like, because that's something I read as a kid, or like a teenager. Because I was really, little known fact, I was very into Michael Jackson as a kid.
That's another thing I've read that I love is everything I can get my hands on of Michael Jackson.
Yes.
I've read a many books.
Yeah. Yes, I've also read many books on him too. But yeah, I remember that one was kind of like almost like a biography on Michael Jackson,
Oh.
sort of, I feel
Okay.
like.
I could see that.
I mean, like their lives as children.
Yeah.
But like, because the movie that is about the Jackson 5,
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of around that book, sort of.
Okay.
I don't know, unless I'm confusing it
I
for
don't
you.
know.
But anyway, there's a lot of stuff about Michael in that was not very complimentary, but not in that one.
Oh.
Well, because that one was like going back on everything she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that like she talked about almost how like their relationship was weirdly good, like
Yeah.
that he never questioned anything or that she was always afraid to tell him because she was afraid that he would like kill Michael or something.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, it is Michael Jackson. I think he has bodyguards.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
Whatever. But
It was a very bizarre family.
yeah. 7. Are there any books you associate with the beginning of our friendship? I don't think so.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
'Cause we didn't really talk about that at first. It was mostly over art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And yes. And my therapy over
Yeah.
with art.
Yeah.
She was my therapist for a while. not like officially, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we bonded over art, not books. But
Yeah.
now that we're more established in our friendship, we talk about books.
Yeah.
Okay, 8. Are there books that I have recommended to you that have become important to you? And I'm going to say no to that probably. But I have talked about this in one of my updates that I am going to have her read the Beatrix Potter book.
Especially because she's an artist.
Yes, she's an artist. She loves nature and science, all things that Marcia likes.
And I'm like a nature journaler.
Yes,
so I think
she loves doing
really
that.
Appreciate
so there are some really pretty pictures in there. And yes,
so cool.
Yay!
Okay.
Yes, she will like that. So there, I just recommended one that's going to become important to her. Oh, is there a book I recommended to you that you disliked? I was going to say any fiction book. But,
I mean, I don't know if I would always dislike it.
No, but it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to go and pick that up right now. Yeah, that's not going to, no. I know better than that, though.
I might get totally burnt out
That's true.
on nonfiction someday, and I'll just be like, well, it's time.
Well, and there might be, like, some celebrities have written, like, fiction books and kids' books and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's possible
Which,
that, like,
I do have one coming up by a singer of a band that I really like.
Ooh.
It's a fiction. I want to read soon.
ooh.
It's called Wildwood, and I forget the name of the guy.
Uh-oh.
The singer of the Decemberists.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You
Yeah.
know who those they are.
Yes.
So, yeah. Cool.
So,
Oh, and the last one. What is on your nightstand right now?
well, let's
Or-
pretend this is my nightstand.
Yes. My nightstand is my coffee table.
My Life with My Sister Madonna. Our Life with My Sister Madonna by Christopher. Is that how you say it? Sisson?
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a very surprising book because I really didn't know anything about him. And he was a supporter, or worked for her a lot of her career as her dresser and sometimes coordinator in the shows and stuff. But I'm like, have like a half a chapter left and they're having a falling out, and I'm feeling that's why he wrote this book, because they didn't really talk after that. So anyway, it's very interesting.
Tell all gossipy type of book.
I don't know. He really speaks the truth with love, but it really does show that she's kind of will do anything to get further in her career and doesn't really care about anyone but herself.
Yeah. that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
So.
And that's it.
Yay!
And when I'm done with this, I'm going to read Helter Skelter. It's like this thick, and I'm really scared. So I'm hoping that I really am captivated by it, because if it's not, I may not continue with it. We'll see. I got a thrift store. It's falling apart. I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably an audiobook that might be a little bit.
Well, that's true.
Well, thanks for coming on my BookTube channel. Yay! It was fun. And now we can see what we're really like when I'm not scripted.
You don't have wine this time.
That's true. I don't.
Beer.
Because that's what we like.
And our bellies are so full.
I know. We just had Mexican food. And now we're having beer. So basically I'm going to be in a coma later. Okay. So in the addition, Hannah says on the tag that we can talk about additional things. And originally, before I saw this tag, I told Marcia that I wanted her to read a specific book for Nonfiction November and then come on my channel and talk about it. So now I'm just going to give the video to Marcia, and she can just tell you about the book that she read specifically to talk about with my channel.
Yes, and as you can see, it's called A Curious Man by Robert Ripley, who is the guy that does Ripley, believe it or not. And originally, I didn't know anything about him except from the 80s when there was the there was a TV show weekly that was like Ripley's, believe it or not. And it was kind of creepy, I thought as a kid, but I loved it. And that's all I knew about him. I thought he was just a guy that searched out weird stuff, which he was. But he was a cartoonist. That's why he started out as a sports cartoonist, and then he gradually started doing the weird, curious things. Hey, let me think. Let's go to my facts real quick.
I can edit.
He never finished high school, which was interesting. But not that interesting, I guess. But this was like in the very early century, like 1905 to like 30. You know, he became famous during the Depression, which was really weird. I think it's because during the Depression they needed something fun to think about. So the comics were really big in the newspapers. This is what I wanted. At the height of the Great Depression, he earned upward of $500,000 per year.
Holy cow.
During the Depression.
Holy cow.
So he was one of, I mean, he may have been the highest paid cartoonist ever. I'm not positive. I mean, except for like Walt Disney.
No.
But he was famous before Walt Disney. He actually mentions him in his books. So
Oh, really?
It's kind of funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because Walt Disney would have been after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were around the same age, maybe.
Okay.
Like, they crossed paths.
Okay.
His first commercial cartoon sale was to Life magazine in 1908, which I thought was I don't know.
She's so much more well prepared than I am when I do my reviews.
That's because I just will be like, yeah, that's about all the, the crazy stuff that I wanted to say about it, but it was like he started to find the weird stuff to put in his cartoons by traveling the world. So he was like the modern day Marco Polo, as people called him. He went to like every single country almost, in search for this weird stuff to put in his cartoons. Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. I'm jealous. I would like to do that.
Should do something like that.
Yeah.
Should start making like cartoons.
Well,
about
I
your
do
things.
try to travel and do
yes.
journaling of art.
Yes.
Art journaling. So.
Which you should go to her channel and watch her channel for art journaling. So, which I'm gonna try to do more of soon-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a collab.
Yes, I had an idea for one.
Okay.
Spoiler
We'll talk about
alert.
it. We'll talk about it later. Okay. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got too far away.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. We'll figure it out. So, all right, friends. I hope you enjoyed this chatty, silly video. I'll probably just put it up in one take, because why not?
Yeah, it wasn't too many spaces.
Yeah. And I feel like people would probably like to see how we are with each other in real life. Okay, that's all we have. All right. Bye. Oh, no.